first event is the first cloned animal, named Dolly. A group of British scientists succeeded in the cloning of the first animal, and so announced her birth in 1997. This invention led to important scientific advances in genetics and in regenerative medicine. The second event is the September 11th terrorist attack, better known as the Twin Towers attack. This event marks the beginning in the still-going conflict between the United States and the Middle East. The third event is the death of Pope Juan Pablo II. This was in the year of 2005. The news was transmitted by the Vatican radio, and later on, in San Pedro's Plaza, the official announcement was made, in front of thousands of people, that the Pope had returned to the Lord's house. The fourth event is Barack Obama's election as the President of the United States in 2008. This election made a change in history, especially since this was the first time a black man was elected president. The fifth event is the apparition of influenza H1N1. This disease was a big pandemic during the year 2009, caused because of porcine virus in Mexico. This virus got out of control, and so the government had to report a state of alert because of this disease. The sixth event is the Curiosity in Mars. This particular ship was sent to Mars, in which was one of the most dangerous and long trips, to finally land in Mars and so gather information about the soil, the air, and all the components of this planet. This was on the year of 2012. Globalization is the process where different countries interact at a personal level with enterprises and with their governments. This process affects every aspect, including environment, culture, politics, and economics, and it involves mainly international trade, investments, and technology. Terrorism is a criminal act that seeks to influence an audience beyond the possible victim or victims. The people who form part of terrorist attacks plan these interventions to gain publicity, and usually they choose targets that symbolize what they are against. Unipolar world is a term that refers to the world order where only one country holds the power. In this system, there is only one power that dominates. This concept means that this country is involved in most of the international decisions and that it has big influence, but also great economic power. The digital era is a term used for describing the actual time we are living, and it is called like this because of the technological advances that have been released in the last few years. This includes all the new technologies and the internet, as well as the apparition of all the communication media that have shaped our habits, languages, lifestyle, and costumes. The relationship between the concepts I just described and the events of the part 1 are that some of them help to emphasize the meaning of the concepts. For example, Obama's presidency in 2008 affirms the fact that we live in a unipolar world because United States news or events cause a huge impact in all the other countries, no matter how far away they are from it. Another example is the terrorist attacks on September 11th to the Twin Towers. That's an example of terrorism. And an example of digital era are the fact that when Pope Juan Pablo II died, it was known all around the world in a few hours. And from the concept of globalization, you can see it in the event of the first cloned animal, because globalization obviously goes along with technological advances. Why did the globalization emerge? Because of the constant technological advances that each country was acquiring, and because of the unipolar system establishment after the fall of the URSS. Also, because of the necessity that all countries saw during both World Wars and during Cold War to have alliances, and so, eventually, they looked out for each other in politics, in technology, and in economics, causing the phenomena called globalization. In most cases, what caused the terrorist attacks of 20th century? The lack of communication between countries and between the rulers, and also the difference in ideas, religions, and the possible difference in cultures, as well as the distance between the countries and the lack of organization. On the other hand, I believe another reason is the lack of forgiveness or the revenge desire, which led some rulers to make wrong decisions. How does the end of the Cold War relate with the unipolar world? When the Cold War ended, the URSS fell, and with that, the bipolar world that existed during this period, where United States and URSS were the two powers that controlled the order, ended as well. This because once the URSS fell, the United States stayed the only power still standing, and so it consolidated itself as the power country of the new unipolar world. How has the digital era influenced today's society? It has created a mixed society. This means that people are no longer citizens of one country, but of several countries at once. This because of how easy it is for people to learn from different cultures, especially through social media, movies, and other means of communication. So now, people can be in touch with people from all around the world and learn from them, which affects lifestyle, the traditions, and also the ideologies that people have.